What's going on, drinking buddies? Before we get into it this week, just a quick word from our sponsors, the people that keep me in booze money. Keep this show afloat. Besides you guys help keep this show afloat. You know what I mean. It's been a sleep-deprived couple of days, guys. So first and foremost, we are brought to you by our friends at Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is the Record of the Month Club, the best damn Record of the Month Club. Every month, Vinyl Me Please features one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection. Each record is pressed exclusively for Vinyl Me Please, and it has features you can't get anywhere else. Things like bonus tracks, inserts, colored variants. It comes packaged with a 12x12 album-inspired art print and custom cocktail pairing every month. It's fucking awesome. So the way it works, guys, is you sign up, you get some fucking awesome vinyl. One new vinyl every month, no contracts involved, cancel anytime. You gotta check it out. If you're interested in rad vinyl, hearing some good tunes like I am, go to www.joinvmp.com/ANWD. Once again, that was joinvmp.com/ANWD. And get some rad vinyl sent to your house with some awesome cocktail recipes. We're also brought to you this week by our friends at Ghost Tequila. Ghost Tequila is a 100% agave Blanco tequila that is ghost pepper infused. Seriously, dudes and dudettes, or however you identify yourself. Ghost Tequila is awesome. Makes amazing spicy margaritas, Bloody Marias. It's great to just shoot. If you're into Blanco tequilas and a little bit of spice, magnifique. So if you're not in one of the lucky states that already has Ghost Tequila, go to www.ghosttequila.com, order yourself a bottle. You will not regret it. Last but not least, we are brought to you by our friends at Laughable. Laughable is the #1 comedy podcast app on iOS. Not only can you subscribe to your favorite performers, your favorite shows, they give recommendations in app, and they're just all about changing the face of comedy. Ned Kenny, the owner, CEO of Laughable, is a fan of comedy. And he has made this app just to promote comedy. I believe in Ned's vision. I believe in this app. And that's why I'm so happy to be part of Laughable. So if you're on Android, it's coming soon. I know I've been saying it forever, but it really is. If you're on iOS, screw the Apple Podcast app. Download Laughable. You will not regret it. It really is the best goddamn podcast app out there. Now that we got the sponsors out of the way, drinking with us this week is the Squirting Man, Eddie Wood. He's a female-to-male trans performer. It's one of those things, man. On one hand, I feel it's important you guys know that Eddie is a female-to-male trans performer. That's how he identifies. But on the other hand, we don't qualify straight performers as hey, this is so-and-so. She's a cis performer. I don't know. Whatever. But Eddie and I, talk about traveling to Cuba, his time with Occupy, how he got arrested, a whole lot of crazy sex stories. So pop a cold one, friends, and enjoy this one.
Today.
Really?
Yeah, it's it was a group therapy, but I can talk about it on record or whatever, but yeah, I was the only one there. So it's just me and my therapist.
That's gotta be a little longer.
A group of one.
Group of one and your phone's going off.
And we're particularly trying to do these grounding exercises. So focus on your feet, how they are against
Very cool. Very cool. We're going already, by the way.
All right, cool. I'm good with that. I tried to not say so much to you before we hit record because everything I say is, you want to get that on tape.
Damn right. That's why we have you here. We want to have fun. We want to have some drinks, and we want to, hear everything you got to say.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me, man.
No.
This is awesome.
Thank you for doing it. This is like the second podcast this week where I'm day drinking. Normally this is like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. thing where I'm, settled in for the night, where I can get nice and trashed and then just kind of stumble to my room.
Yeah, my plan for this actually is I'm hosting a tranny strip at the Villa in West Hollywood. So I already kind of made a plan, like a couple drinks here, go home, get some food, and then no drinking later.
Get a little lubricated before you get on stage.
Yeah.
So what is Tranny Strip? Why don't we just...
Oh, yeah, totally. It's an event put on by this guy, John Ed, from New York, and he's brought it out here. So that's... It all started as it was a opportunity for me to get close to trans women porn stars.
Nice.
So all the top ones, they strip for it. So Aubrey Kate, Foxy, who else? Nadia Love will be there tonight, but Natalie Mars has done it. Everybody's done it. And my first job for it was just collecting the dollar bills after the girls dance. But it was cool. The best part of that, collected the dollar bills, got to go give them to them in the dressing room. So I saw everybody.
I've done that for mainstream girls. Like, that's kind of how I got my start in the biz, too.
Yes.
Like, I started off as a roadie. Like, I did conventions. I'd go out with featured dancers.
Yes.
So I'm right there with you. Like, I've done that gig. Sometimes it's better than others.
Oh, I didn't even get paid like the first time. I just did it. Like, some of the girls tipped me out. But then the next time they offered to pay me, I was like, well, fuck, yeah. I mean, when you're a trans person and a trans artist, you pretty much just assume people aren't going to pay you for what you're going to do.
That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. It's a small, tight-knit community. You'd think that, like, no, we need to take care of each other.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. Or it's what it usually is. It's a non-trans community who wants you to come in and be on, like, their panel. Like, I did this, well, I mean, it's cool, it's whatever, there's both sides to it, but I was invited to do a panel for a class at UCLA when I was a grad student there, and the class is called LGBT is Not a Sandwich, and it was like me going into it, I was like 2 years into trans, it's like really feeling myself, thinking I'm hot shit, like, girls are thinking, well, I'm a guy, I forget that, but girls are perceiving me to be the man that I am, so I thought, I'm gonna meet all these, like, freshman hotties, and so we do the panel. No, not the reaction at all. Afterwards, like, they had like, oh, now we can go eat with the panelists, and the only people who showed up were like 3 little gay boys. They're really sweet, but like the girls were not interested. It was like,
oh, that's a bummer.
I was just imagining, like, what if they had a class like, this is black people, we're having black people come to our panel and ask questions. So it's just,
I'm sure in the 50s and 60s they probably did. They probably did. So as the civil rights movement for the LGBTQ, I don't even know all the letters at this point, continues progressing, I'm sure it will be less like freak showish like that.
Yeah, that's what I try to find comfort in too. It's so bad, but sometimes I'm worried, and I hate to, but part of me is like very pessimist. But I'm also like trans optimist. But the pessimist part is like, oh, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, because it's like, they didn't know about us before, then they started finding out about us, and then they started trying to regulate our bathroom habits.
That's so ridiculous.
I'm like, I'm worried it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But the cool thing about being in the United States is like we have trans people that are out a lot, living out and proud, or whatever you call it.
And there's a trans woman who just won office in Virginia, right?
Oh yeah. That's pretty. That's part of me is. A lot of me is anarchist. I was all in the Occupy Los Angeles stuff, so I'm like, oh, she sold out. Part of me. But no, then there's the whole idea of changing the system from within.
Exactly.
But I think that's great. I think it's great that people are so into voting lately. I haven't voted for, and the worst is I was like a grad student in political science at UCLA that's why I moved out to Los Angeles. But I wasn't voting. I was just like, that's my decision. That's my vote by not voting. I don't approve of the system.
Well, on one hand, unless it's a local election, you're kind of throwing your vote away in California anyways. We're just going to go blue.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that I can just like coast on everybody else's. Yeah. I know way too much about it, but like the cutting edge like research in political science at UCLA when I was there was like, we think we know how presidents are selected. We have this theory called theory of parties. We think parties decide who gets elected president, and we're like, yeah, what? And they're like, no, we're nerds. Like, y'all, regular people don't care about politics. I'm like, what you're saying is just common sense.
Well, it depends on the party. Obviously, the Democratic Party chooses its. The Republican Party, maybe
and that's
not.
what I love, because the whole Donald Trump story just disproves like these old ass white dudes that have been studying public opinion for like 50 years. Just like, no, you're totally off. Your theory's fucked. Your theory was like shitty to begin with and obvious, and it doesn't even.
At least, the GOP doesn't have superdelegates.
Oh, is that the fuck? I remember that word. In a haze of like protests and like tear gas and police. Yeah.
So were you in some wild protests like with the Occupy movement?
Yeah, I was part of the 60-day camp on City Hall in Los Angeles.
Holy shit.
We had like the chillest camp ever though. We think it's because of all the marijuana. Like it was just
marijuana in LA? Never.
And the cops didn't really mind. Like they didn't even pay attention to us for a few weeks. But I think that's what kept everybody so chill. People in New York, they're like sleeping on the street in like trash bags, like in the freezing cold. And we're just like, we just had like a picnic. Like we had all the tents, but we just called them napping tents because no one really stayed there at night. No, I stayed there at night. Other people stayed there at night, but like there was a lot of empty tents. But the worst thing that happened is when we all got arrested, we were expecting the cops to approach from the outside going in because that's how they had done stuff before. But no, all of a sudden, out of the middle of City Hall, all the cops start going down the stairs like Star Wars, like troopers or whatever. All had their, all their equipment on, their big guns. They're like, there was a point where like one of them was like pointing a beanbag gun like at me, and I'm like with my skateboard like outside of a tent, just like freeze frame. Like, yeah, no, they ended up cutting me and my girlfriend at the time out of a tent. And there's like 6 of them, and they had me by my arms and my legs. And they're like, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? And I was like, it's my GoPro. They're like, no, your other hand. And it was this handkerchief that was like dipped in like vinegar or something that we had all prepped. So in case they sprayed our eyes. But they like thought I had a bomb. I didn't do myself any favors. I was wearing a bicycle helmet and like the outside of an army bulletproof vest. We'd even gotten gas masks, but we found out the gas masks that we had been sold were like defective, and we would have like died. It was a
probably would have made things worse. Like, oh, good, now I have the gas in this nice little chamber around my face.
Just the vet was like, yeah, you're lucky you saw me, or you were gonna kill yourself. I'm like, fuck. So yeah, we spent 3 days in jail, which was terrible. I don't recommend jail.
Did they throw you in Gen Pop or?
So the first thing they do is like they separate you into men and women, which is interesting. So I packed my packer because I knew we were gonna get arrested that day. So they didn't like do like a really intense like frisk or anything, but they looked at my ID, and my ID has my birth name, like a feminine name on it. I still have it, use it, but it says male. So I was just like, oh, I'm a man. And it was funny. They're like, oh, okay. Once I told them I was a man, they're all like totally on board. They're like, put M in like a circle on my folder. Like other people come up, they're like, oh no, he's a man, it's just a family name. Like they're all like going to bat for me. And then when I got in there, you can say that you're bisexual or gay, and they put you in a special population so you don't like get beat up. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm bisexual. I didn't ever say I was trans. And they put me in that. But it was kind of freaky interesting because they put you with anyone who's like special. So like I had some very special cellmates at sometimes.
Like mentally disturbed cellmates?
Yeah, like staring at me while I was sleeping type of thing. But it's cool. Like I think it would have been worse in general population. And then like I got my own room There was like a guy across the way from me that was all tatted up, and he was like asking me if I was gay. And so I would just like flail my hand and be like, "I'm not gay, you're gay." Back at him. But he like ran the joint. Like there's like overpopulation or something, so they have some long stay people in the jail. But yeah, I stayed there for 3 days. But we had a lawsuit, and they doled out the money. I got $10,000. So it was like the easiest $10,000 I ever did. 3 days in jail.
10 grand, room and board.
Yeah, like ham sandwiches. My main complaint is that they played 2.5 Men incessantly.
With or without Charlie Sheen?
The Charlie Sheen version.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then with Avatar. So I like those. I can't stomach those anymore. But,
how many times did you have to watch Avatar in 3 days? That's only like 2 or 3 viewings of it.
Exactly. It's just like, this is the true torture. Like, you don't know what time of day it is. They'll like confuse you about it. They wake you up every 8 hours to like feed you, but make sure you're not dead. But that means you eat breakfast at like 2 a.m. or something wild like that. It's just all these things just to destabilize you. So mostly I just cried and then I dreamed. But the best part about sleeping in jail is when you dream, you don't remember you're in jail. So it's like, it's really wonderful. But then you wake up. I know it sounds so basic, but like the craziest thing about a jail is you can't go anywhere, you know? But it's like you might feel that way in your life for something that you're stuck. But until you've been in jail, it's yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anyone telling me when I have to eat, when I have to shower.
Thank God. Yeah. So I passed up the whole shower experience. Yeah. I said no on that. Oh my God. It's enough for me. Like, I'm just getting to the point where I can shower at LA Fitness in the like group shower and not have my hands over my crotch the whole time. I try to like be like casual about it. But now, like, since I've been on my like last reiteration of of going to LA Fitness, I'm like, fuck it. Yeah. I'm just going to put it out there because I'm just trying to make some more money, you know?
Why not, right?
Get a lawsuit off of that. Like, that's the worst case scenario.
You probably shouldn't record on something that's going out to the internet like, I'm doing this to possibly be litigious. You probably should put that out. Shouldn't put that out there.
I mean, I'm doing it not to be litigious. Is that the word?
I think that's a word.
No, I believe you. I just don't know.
I'm not a lawyer. Look at this guy. Not a lawyer. I am a jagoff with a microphone and some alcohol. That's about it. I am wildly uneducated.
No, I love lawyers. I've been watching The Staircase on Netflix, and I love lawyers. They're not necessarily good or bad, but they're just they're legal. They're what they do is legal. Sometimes.
Apparently, what Michael Cohen is doing was not legal. And
oh yeah, today's a big day. Oh gosh, yeah. I practice with my therapist. This is a road I was just gonna be like, stop, nope, I can't even go down to that. It's funny though. I do choose to begin my mornings by watching like Stephen Colbert and Seth Meyers, and then Jordan Kepler on the opposition. I don't know. That's the only thing. I guess it just jolts my brain awake. Otherwise, I would sleep until
You're like, this is what's going on in the world. Holy shit. This world is a crazy place these days.
I just don't. Yeah, I like Samantha Bee. I like how she called Ivanka Trump. Fuck, I don't know his other name. This is so embarrassing. But she called her a feckless cunt, and then she got all that pushback about it. That was really interesting.
So what? She called her a feckless. I can't even say it now. A feckless cunt.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? It's her opinion. Speaking of Ivanka, did you see that she liked one of Tommy Pistol's tweets?
Yeah, that was really cool. Tommy, my dream, one of my mini porn dreams is that like Brie Mills would like cast. Well, I will have to be more buff. Okay, I'm putting that out there. So that's just my own insecurities. But I get cast in something for Pure Taboo with Tommy, and I'm like his twin. But like his twin brother has like a pussy, and it's some like sci-fi or Pure Taboo thing about that.
Well, Tommy can't bang you if you're his twin brother.
No, we wouldn't be banging. We would be banging the same woman, and it would be like a case of mistaken identity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nice.
Or maybe some weird universe where he had to have a pussy or something, or maybe he used to have a pussy. I don't know. It could be a flashback, but yeah, I think he's awesome.
Oh, that'd be crazy if like you guys did like a. Yeah, that'd be pretty fucking rad.
That's why I think there's so many opportunities to do that weird sci-fi stuff and the super like taboo stuff with trans. It's got it written all over it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Speaking of like going back to when you were like, those cute UCLA girls, I showed a picture of you to one of my friends when we were out to brunch the other day. Like, oh, this is my guest this week. She's like, I wish I knew how to eat pussy. She thought you were so cute.
Everybody knows how to eat pussy deep down, I assume. But it's funny too because I would prefer her just to treat it like a dick, like a very small dick, and like I'll go there because like a this is so bad, but it's like a small dick. It's like a baby dick. It's terrible. But like if you just now don't ever think of that again, just associate that. Now that I made that connection in your brain. But I guess that's my own fear, It's like, who's into like really tiny dick, But I hear there's some positives about sucking trans dick. It's very small, so like it doesn't take as much like mouth muscles and stuff. Like
you're not gonna wear out the jaw.
Yeah, I'll still make a girl wear out her jaw, but but yeah, like it's the subtlety of differences between like if a girl goes down on me and she's going down on me as if she were a girl, it really the sensation's like not even there. It's like totally different. How it's wild how mental it is. But if a girl goes down on me and she knows how to suck dick, and I'm like, yeah, just suck it like a small dick. It's like so hot. Like the differences, just the time, the differences between a girl like fingering me with like the pad of her finger and like doing circles versus making like her thumb and her finger jack me off, like it's incredibly different. Like and one works and one doesn't.
Well,
so,
I'll have to let her know, and maybe maybe we can make a love connection here.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Shout out to Laura.
Ask her, Laura, how she feels about squirt, because she's gonna need a scrunchie and she's gonna need a towel.
I will definitely let her know.
That's why I feel like I always bring my own like towel to set because like it's like a courtesy.
That is very kind of you. I was dating a girl for a little while that squirted quite a bit, and she'd come over and I'd have just ruin my fucking towels all the time. Like, oh, we gotta put a towel under your ass.
I was with a girl. Even if there was a towel, she would just ruin the sheets.
Well, it shows you're doing good work. Doing good work at that point. Shit.
Yes, exactly. That's what the girls are always like. Oh, I never squirted before. See, that was like a compliment to myself.
Oh, definitely. I've only made a handful of women squirt in my whole life, and
good.
Mostly it's accidentally. Like, oh shit, that happened.
No, that's really good. See, that's you were doing something right, just naturally in your body that you didn't even have to think about. You're like that hot. That's really good if you didn't mean to make it.
I think it was a her and I connection. It's not like, every time I'm up to bat, like squirting.
Oh yeah, no, it's totally about the connection. For real. Yeah, when you get that magnetic connection. It's wild. When I would, with this one woman, I felt like I could feel the sensation in my fingers happening before she started squirting. And we had the kind of relationship where like, well, she was my girlfriend at the time's best friend, but I just started transitioning. And so my girlfriend having trouble accepting my transition, but her best friend, who I didn't really know except for as my Lee man self, she being like, oh, Lee, he, him, just music to my ears. And so we started hooking up behind my girlfriend's back. And so that really, it was the kind of thing where if we're around each other and my girlfriend wasn't around, it was just like magnetic. So with her, I could feel that energy coming before she would even squirt. I haven't quite. Well, now I'm not messing with clit so much. Now I'm more of I'm into lady dick kind of guy.
Into lady dick?
Yeah, which is interesting too, because you can kind of get that same sensation. Well, I guess when you know when it's gonna come, because I never been around jizz and shit. Like, well, just jizz. There's no shit.
I mean, there could be. I mean, depends on what you're into. I don't judge.
Actually, I finally had to figure out what do you do with the poopy finger when you pull it out. And I was a terrible person, and I wiped it on this girl's sheets.
Oh, that's not cool.
I didn't know what to do. It was like my first time. it was she was trying me out too. It was a situation. She's like, well, I don't know if I would ever be with a trans guy, so let's just go to my house and have sex and see. And I was like, okay.
That's fucking amazing. Holy shit. As a cis white male, no one's ever rolled up to me like, I've never banged a cis white male before. Let's go fuck.
That's great. That is great.
Like,
Yes.
goddamn, the advantages you have. I'm never going to experience that. Like, never tried one of you out before because we're a fucking dime a dozen.
That's so great. Oh, that's really wonderful.
It's like saying I've never tried McDonald's before. That's all we are. We're the fast food of fucking sexual identity.
Yeah, we're more like yeah, I'm like the new organic Mexican place that they're building on Tocoya Organic. That's like me.
I've heard about that. That's supposed to be really good. I gotta try it.
Huge line, yeah. All the
Huge
time.
line. It's often out of stock. Fucking just too many people are trying it out.
Yeah. Okay. I'm feeling really positive right now. Need to send this out to all the guys that are earlier in their transition.
Sex will come for you.
Yeah. Come in abundance. Yeah. People in the future are sluts. They want it all.
Oh yeah. They want to try new and wild things.
I had my first gay hookup just like 2 months ago, like with a guy. I didn't even. Well, it's bad. I have this kind of tendency if like if a guy like is like, do this, I'm like, okay, just for my own upbringing. And so he had gotten my number when I was promoting Tranny Strip, but he got it out at Club Cobra, and it's like a gay bar. And so he started, sexting me, trying to get me to come over. And he was incessant, and it was working. And finally, like, I was off work, and he texted the right thing at the right time. Oh yeah, I think maybe he said something to the effect of, like, it could be... Well, I forgot what he said. But he did ask if I wanted to use condoms. So that's what this is what it was. He asked me what I called my front part down there. Or like something, like he said it nicely. And I thought that was so nice of him to ask. So that kind of made me feel like, okay, he's safe. But I never done that before. I drove to his house. He was like, do you mind if I'm jerking off and you just come in on me? And I was like, okay. And like, oh my, and his dick was so big because I've been only messing really with like trans girl dick, and it's a different type of dick. It's like a soft flower. And this thing was just huge. And so I didn't even really want to suck on it or anything, but it was cool because he was just really into sucking me off. And then he like fucked me, and he could only put like a tiny bit in, but he was so nice. And I had my feet up on his chest, and I'm like looking up at him, and I was like, God, he's so masculine, he's so hairy, and he's like bald and muscular. And I was just like, oh, this is so fucking hot, like this is so fucking masculine. I was really into it, but I just did it like one time. But I'm really glad that I did that experience, because it was like a big mental thing for me to be able to like go hook up with the guy as a guy. I don't know. It was dope. I prefer women because I feel like romantic, and I do like. It was funny. I didn't know what to do when it was over, and I was like, "Can I smoke a cigarette?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't smoke inside." And I was like, "Oh, can we just go out there?" And he's like, "Oh, my neighbors are really nosy." And then I felt like I needed to go. And I was like, "Well, do you want to talk for like a minute?" So we talked for like 5 minutes, and then it was just like, "Bye."
Yeah, it was the awkward like, why we both came? Why are you still here?
Yeah.
I just imagine a lot of gay sex is like both come, high five, out the door.
Yeah. It's like, you're ashamed for your neighbors to see me? You just made me come.
They heard it. They know I'm here.
Yeah. It was so wild. And then he hit me up like a week later, and he's like, you want to hang out again? And then I didn't respond. He's like, oh, let's go. I won't bother you anymore. So that was nice. I was in and out.
I imagine like, gay culture and two dudes, like, I don't know how they got anything done. Like, it was just two dudes involved, I just imagine it's boning all the time.
Yeah. Boning and working out and boning.
So it's like, both partners having like the male sex drive. I can't imagine much, but obviously the community's getting stuff done. I just don't know. I just don't know how. Like, where do they find the time?
They're incentivizing it. Yeah, that's hilarious. I love having sex with trans women because like they're like, someone will be like, oh, I know what it's like, like about my sex drive or stuff, or like about me wanting to be polyamorous or like have multiple partners and stuff. It's kind of neat cutting me slack because they knew what it used to be like to have the testosterone sex drive. And I want to like live in like a feminist like world, like reject like evolutionary differences of the sexes. But then it's just wild to experience being on testosterone versus not being on testosterone, and like all these terrible like stereotypes being like true.
Oh, testosterone makes you do crazy fucking things. Be happy you never had to experience what being a teenage male was like.
That seems terrifying.
Oh, it's just like, oh, I'm erect. Like, just strong breeze, hard on, just jerking off multiple times a day. Like, I just got to get the poison out. Yeah,
I remember like my first weekend of like that feeling when I started my testosterone therapy. It was like, and that you never watch porn, and now I just realize jerking off every day at the end of the day is just something that I have to do. And then I've really attached it to cigarette smoking. So like if I don't have a pack of cigarettes and it's like late and I don't want to go out, I'll just be like, fuck it, I'm just not jerking off tonight.
Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. It's like Pavlovian that you need a cigarette when you get off. That's horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm not a cigarette smoker anymore. I quit years ago, but I do miss the after sex cigarette. Oh my God. That used to be the after meal cigarette, and the after sex cigarettes were like the two best.
Yeah. They're freaking essential.
That's like, I just came, I'm a little sweaty.
But the cigarette during sex, oh my God. I studied abroad in Cuba when I was in college. And Cuba's funny because there's not much, everyone has housing, but there's not like enough housing for you to move out of your parents' house. So everyone's always trying to find places to have sex. So they have like rooms you can rent. Rented this room for like $2. I mean, for like 2 hours for like $8. And I'm having sex with this Cuban girl. And then she starts smoking a cigarette, and I was like, "Oh, she's finished." No, it was a part of like sex. So I brought that back to the States, and then like I did it like during really emotional breakup sex with that same girlfriend that now everyone knows I cheated on a girl. I wasn't living my true life. I wasn't my authentic self.
I hope she's over it by now. How many years ago was this?
She's over it, but now girls know. Now girls listening to your podcast know I've been a cheater. And I like to say, once a cheater, always a cheater. But now I'm just poly.
Right. So you're open.
Yeah, I'm just open.
So you weren't a cheater. You just weren't confident enough to say what your needs were. And you were doing what you need to get your needs met.
I love you. Oh, my gosh. I'm very pro mental health and therapy. I was, as I said, at therapy before this. I go to therapy 4 times a week at the LGBT Center. And it's awesome. It's a great support system. And you talk like a therapist. I like that.
Hey, this is just my own like life experience. Like, no one's going to look out for me but me.
Yeah.
So if I don't say what I want in life, no one's going to just assume that's what I want.
Yeah. That's a bit, especially in the bedroom, asking for what I want. That's a huge thing. Because I come from the back, like I was a lesbian from, I guess my whole life or whatever, but like practicing lesbian from like 16 to 24. And I was like one of those stone cold lesbians, you don't touch me, I just touch you. I would just like, finger a girl and get off on that.
Why do you think that was?
I guess I was so dysphoric about my vagina and having a vagina, and I didn't see alternate ways of having a vagina. But then once I started my testosterone therapy, I started growing my clit to become, like I've been talking about, my baby dick. I wanted to use it all the time. I had like a couple strap-ons, but I liked them before I transitioned, but then once I transitioned, I was like, well, fuck, I want to use what I have. I want to stick it in everything I can.
See, that is the testosterone talking right fucking there. Maybe you do know what it's like to be a teenage male.
See, that's what they say. They say, yeah, your transition with hormones is your second puberty. And so it's like you're going through puberty, but you have access to your own living situation. You have a car. You can get alcohol. You can get weed. You can get drugs. You can go out to clubs. So, yeah, 16-year-old.
Wait, you couldn't do that at 16?
Nah.
I was definitely doing most of that shit at 16.
Oh, you're a bad boy.
I was a bad kid.
I was such a good kid. I'm from South Carolina, and I grew up in the church. And all through high school, I played like in the church band. My first girlfriend, like my secret high school girlfriend, would come watch me play drums for the temporary church service on Wednesdays, and then afterwards I would take her to go get ice cream, and then like I would say something funny, and she'd like go to hold my hand, and then I would get like a tummy ache because I felt so guilty. Like we would like have conversations where like we can pray, like literally like we'll pray the gay away, like we'll go to this camp for Fellowship of Christian Athletes because I went there. I was like, we can go back to this camp and we can give up lesbianism, because I went there and we were supposed to nail everything, like all of our sins, to the cross. And I remember thinking, I can't nail liking girls to the cross. I can't give that up. So yeah, no, my brother's a preacher. Yeah, Christianity's fucked.
It served its purpose back in the day. No, it in biblical times when that shit was written, the rules laid down make sense to a degree. Like, don't eat these animals, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
Don't covet thy neighbor's wife, because there will be fucking fighting. Yeah. Don't murder someone, there will be fighting. There were guidelines that kept society together when there were a lot less of us and we were a lot less advanced. Shit makes sense. The homophobia in it, well, in their mind, God said, go forth and multiply. Well, if you were having homosexual sex, you were not multiplying.
Yeah.
But it is 2018. None of that shit makes sense now. Not a goddamn bit of it.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I like that about the Episcopalian faith. I dabbled in a little bit recently. But I got the fuck out. But they're like, we're going to keep all the good stuff. We're going to get rid of all the bad stuff. Like, keep their rituals, have new interpretations. Yeah.
Well, think about it from a logical standpoint. If God is almighty and created man in his image, well, then he created trans people. He created homosexual people. He created all these people. Well, why would you punish one of God's other creations? He created these people.
Yeah, I like envisioning God as trans. There's a liberation theology. I think it's a whole strand of Christianity where you envision God as whatever kind of oppressed person that you are.
Honestly, I feel like, I mean, I don't believe in God, but if I did, I believe God feels like strapping on whatever God feels like strapping on that night. Like, you know what? I feel like I would have a pussy tonight. Fuck me. Like, tonight I'm going to have a big fucking massive fucking cock. I'm going to fuck some. I'm God. Aliens, however aliens fuck. How chickens fuck. They have like vents.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about
chickens have like vents and like shoot the semen in between the vents.
What? This is really interesting to me because this is the kind of sex. I mean, that's not the kind of sex I have, but this is the kind of sex I have. Where this is my theory. I think that trans women were made to have sex with trans men because their butt pussies, or whatever you want to call their butts, their pussies, their holes back there, they fit perfectly, like line up with a trans guy's clit. So I like to top with my clit like a dick, and I swear, like, it gets up in there a little bit, like a little bit, but like the girl can feel all the energy and everything. I mean, maybe they're just telling me this, but I'm very passionate, and like I'll finish like up in their hole from like fucking like that. And so this vent thing sounds very similar because probably most of my cum, my jizz, my squirt is just like getting in their butt crack. but like there's a little bit of pokage.
Hey, as long as everyone's getting off, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
I know, it's been the best thing ever. I think, with trans guys, they don't really put that out there, like that's one of the changes that happens. All about the top surgery, but everyone thinks, oh, are you getting a penis installed? I do stand up. I have a joke about that. The joke is this: a lot of people want to know about the surgery. And so what they actually do, and I don't know like all the specifics, but they take a baby arm. Okay, that sounds bad.
No, keep going.
They take a dead baby's arm and they sew it to your clit. And really, like for me, the only downside is when I go to whip it out, it's like a white baby power fist. That's my closer right now. When I used to close with like darker humor about like incest and childhood trauma, but I've switched it up. Now I end with white baby power fist. I just got to perform over the weekend and that was great.
If she really knows you're having a good time, the baby fist will give a thumbs up when it comes out. Like, yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, baby thumb is probably a more fair comparison. Oh my god, I'm having a lot of fun.
I'm gonna ruin you for all other podcasts. You're gonna go on some other fucking industry podcasts and they're gonna be like, so who do you want to work with?
Oh my god, right? Yeah.
See, I try to steer away from all that shit. Like, people can go to other media outlets for that.
I've yet to even have that bullshit question, so
don't worry, it will come. Enjoy it now before everyone starts asking, so who do you want to work with? How'd you get in the business? Do your parents know what you do? All the typical bullshit.
Yeah, fuck that. We get to the real stuff.
Yeah, no, that shit's boring. I want to hear about how you fucking real life.
Yes.
Look,
I could feel your energy when I said that. I was like, yes, he's getting excited for it. Like to get that. I know that's like what you're going for. Like, I could feel that's what you're going for with your podcast, to get like the essence of people.
Yeah, no, I want to know the real you. I want to know like what's going on in real life, because porn sex is acting. It's supposed to be aesthetically pleasing to the camera, not pleasurable for anyone involved.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing to learn. Like, it's kind of a sobering reality, because when you first start doing it, or at least when I first started doing it, I kind of forgot about the camera being there, and I was like, oh, that's a good thing. And it's like, no, that's not a good thing.
Not at all.
So now, when I do it, half of my mind is like on, I still want to like feel like I'm doing a good job, like, protect my rep with the performer. I want them to be like, yeah, he's good at fucking. But then, the other half of my brain is like always making sure nothing's blocking anything and doing these wild positions I wouldn't necessarily do in real life.
Right, like you wouldn't have your leg behind your head and,
yeah.
Like, so on the, just all the porn positions, like, I would never fuck like that in real life. I'd pull something trying. There's a reason I've never wanted to be a performer. I know what goes into it.
Yeah, and I turn all red, like, when I do it. I look like I'm sunburned, but I just get really red, I guess, like, because I'm really get athletic at it. Or maybe I'm just out of shape. But I was doing, like, just shot a scene with Natalie Mars, and it was cool because, well, it was her first time shooting with a trans guy, and then the people filming it hadn't really shot any straight porn, as you would, call it, like penis vagina porn before. So there's all these different positions, like that the director and the photographer are like, oh, I never, the director kind of knows some of them because of her own personal life. But I won't say it's on a big project that's coming out that you're going to have to look out for. It's going to be groundbreaking, a really big, my scene is a part of a really big DVD that's going to be coming out this year. And it'll be a really big deal that there's like a F to M, on it. And I guess people know I've shot a scene with Natalie Mars, so you can put the pieces together.
You can't tell them what it is yet?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I got in trouble already for like posting something to my OnlyFans. I thought, OnlyFans? Well, no.
Nope.
The powers that be are like, mm-mm. So no, they're slowly rolling this stuff out, but it's cool. I feel like so included in the trans porn industry, like through the awards and the main players in there. They've always made me feel really included. And so then this is like really people putting their money where their mouth is for trans guy inclusion. So it's going to be a really big year. And there's been all kinds of companies shooting trans guys this past year. And there's so many trans guys popping up on mini-vids and OnlyFans. It's so cool.
That's fucking awesome. Hopefully we get to a point in the industry where it's not trans porn and straight porn. It's just porn.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like it doesn't feel right to label what you do as just, this is trans porn. Like,
yeah, it sucks because I do really believe, Pure Taboo will never shoot trans content just because it's not their brand and it's not their brand. And that's how we're talking about, that's how the brands are these days. Jessica Drake, 2 years ago at XBiz, she said that she wanted to incorporate trans content into her DVDs. And then this past year, she did Jessica Drake is Wicked. But for whatever political things are going on in the industry, it didn't get like recognition like I thought it would. But it's an incredible scene. But I think it's still like one of those scenes that's segmented because it's kind of like, I guess it's more of a showcase. But what she talked about in that meeting was just a movie where, like you're saying, like there's a trans women, men, women, trans men, just all mixed together, and more of like in the story all together. I mean, that would be incredible. But even for trans guy stuff, we haven't even gotten to the point where it's like, oh, my babysitter is a trans man, or like my stepson is a trans man, or like my daddy is a trans man. We haven't even had any of that stuff yet. Like I guess we'll have it, but maybe
it'll get there. Don't worry. All the cliches. My pizza delivery guy is a trans man.
Yeah, I'm like, it's still exciting. Like we still have. I mean, I think trans women porn. A lot of the performers are past, and a lot of the companies are past like the reveal. Like, oh, she has a cock. Like, we're past that. Like, we know she has a cock. But yeah, there's yet to be the, oh, he has a pussy moment. And actually, in what I shot, it wasn't even like, I made the, oh, he has a pussy moment. I made that decision because I said, I pulled down my pants and I said, what do you think? And then Natalie was like, I like it or something, like, so we made those decisions. But it's funny to think about, like, there's so much trans man porn to be made. Even just, I guess there's James Darling and Venus Lux. They put out like a DVD that was trans guys, trans girls, which is great because it was kind of the idea of like a romantic thing. But that's what me and Betty Black and Michelle Austin and Dickie Johnson were trying to put out, like a trans for trans DVD. And I guess this next year that'll be more focused on like romance, but just whether it's trans guys, two trans girls, or trans guy and trans girl. But capturing that, just like the romantic stuff, so that we're kind of like laying the trope stuff like by the wayside. We want to have like real trans storylines because more and more trans people are dating each other in real life. It's really cool. The New York Times did this piece about this military couple, Layla and Logan Ireland, and they're like serving in Iraq, and he's like serving with like a male unit in Iraq. And they didn't even know he was trans. And this is before like any of the legislation and trans people can be in or they can be out. And they really like started this great fad. It's more than a fad, but like trans people dating trans people. It never even occurred to me. Because like as a trans guy, I always feel like, I guess I used to define myself as less than man. So I'm trying to do all the things, that are stereotypical men, including like have this like super hot cis chick. But I realized dating other trans people, it's just like the comfort level of dating someone like in your own race or like someone that's the same nationality as you.
You don't have to explain things.
Yeah. It's so beautiful.
I'm sure dating a cis woman, there's questions and they could get old.
And with them, they all want like a, they like want a star, like a gold star for like seeing you as a man. Like, oh, you're such a man to me, or oh, you're more of a man than any of the cis men that I've dated. Like, just wild shit. Yeah, it's funny. Or like one of them said to me when we were about to have sex after getting to know each other for like a month or two, oh, you'll have to forgive me. I've only had sex with men over the last 3 years. Like we talk about like a boner kill. Like you're about to have sex with another dude. Like
Right.
yeah. Or I'll be trapping trans girls all the time. Like I'll be there for a trans night and they just assume that I'm a cis guy there who likes trans women. And usually I tell people like within like the first 5 seconds I'm trans, because like I want you to know so you don't say any fucked up shit around me. It's like it's for you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like take girls out. Like one time I didn't tell her until we're like having Thai like late night after Club Cobra. And she's talking about her surgery or something. And so I was like, oh, yeah, for my surgery, my mom came to she's like, oh, you tricked me. And then, yeah, she went from, like, wanting to hook up to, like, not wanting to hook up.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's so wild. You're like, what? How can you do this when this is what happens to you all the time and you probably feel shit about?
Right. You were digging me beforehand. What the fuck? What the fuck changed here?
And you know how this feels for someone to judge you for being trans. So it's a trip, but I think it's the vagina thing, because I thought trans women, for a lot of them, they want to have vaginas. I mean, as a trans guy, I'd love to have a dick, and I thought you should know everything about vaginas. Like if it was like a car or something, you would know all the specificities. But I've hooked up with like a trans girl and we're like starting to have sex, and she's like, "Why is it wet down there?" It's like, you don't know anything about vaginas?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, actually, you wouldn't even know, I'm sure. But trans women have to, like, lubricate. They don't self-lubricate, right?
Yeah.
So it's probably just something like out of sight, out of mind. Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Like, well, no, I got to spray.
Yeah.
I got to put Pam on it or something. Put some nonstick.
Yeah, and see, that's another reason I feel like trans men are made for trans women, because when I'm fucking her ass, it gets lubricated from me. It's like perfect. It really is.
Like, I bring the party, I fuck, and I lubricate.
Yeah.
What up?
I'll just like, if I'm like fingering a girl or jerking a girl off, I just reach down and get some of my lube. It's so convenient. It's convenient as fuck. Like I forget about lube. Like I never really had to think about lube before.
It's a motherfucker sometimes.
It does suck because like certain girls will want certain brands and you might not have that, and then they're not gonna be,
or you don't have any, and protected sex, even unprotected sex, sometimes people dry out if you're going long enough, and especially if it's been a hard night of drinking and people are dehydrated.
I used to just give away my Bad Dragon lube because I was like, I don't need this, but like fuck, I need all of it now that I'm fucking T-girls, because before that, it was just two pussies getting juicy.
Ruining sheets.
Oh yeah, I want to tell you, puppy pads. You can get them from the 99-cent store. Yeah, someone gave them to me once. So I was like, oh, good looking out.
Like, that's ingenious. I'm just horribly afraid if it was just a hookup with someone who squirts, they would just fucking take it the wrong way.
I know, it is like, it sucks that they're called puppy pads. We should rebrand them and sell them.
Yeah, rebrand squirt pads.
Yes. That's what's up. What's up, yes.
That is being edited out of the podcast. We have money to make. We don't need to give away these fucking ideas on air.
And I'm the perfect spokesperson because I'm Eddie Wood, the squirting man, is like my eponym.
Eddie Wood branded squirt pads. Oh. Fucking Adam and Eve can carry them. Oh, sold.
Yes, I'm always looking for items at the 99-cent store that I can resell.
Slap your face on and resell. Can you imagine just Eddie's face in the middle of the pad?
Yeah, give you something to aim for. Yeah.
Eddie's smiling faces, you squirt on his face.
Yeah, see, like the only alternative out there is the sports sheet, and I used to have that with a girlfriend, and it's just like that rubber sheet, and then you wring it out at the end of the night. It would just fill the bathtub. It was just like,
oh, gross, grody.
It was so much squirt, like it was insane. And I'm pretty sure it's not pee, but like I don't know 100%.
Hey, if girls have been peeing on me all these years, I still feel accomplished. So whatever. I will live in fucking whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Like the first time, I had a girl squirt on me, it was so unexpected.
Oh yeah.
I hooked up with this girl. I just had turned 21. It was like a girl I'd known for a while, but ended up being like a one-night stand thing where some party in Florida, and everyone else that we were sharing a hotel room took off for the night, and it was just her and I hanging out, and then all of a sudden we're fucking around, all of a sudden we're fucking, and we're going at it, and all of a sudden it's like splash against my balls. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, that's so great.
Like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. And then comedy turned into tragedy when I went to go take the condom off and realized that it had broken quite a while back, and I had finished inside her.
Oh my god. Yes. Oh goodness.
So that turned into like a 90-day relationship till we realized she wasn't pregnant. So
Oh my god. See, that's what I don't know any of that feeling, like the pregnancy scare. I mean, I guess I could get, but I'm on test. Like, I either was a woman fucking women and couldn't get pregnant, and now I'm like a guy on testosterone, which like, when you start testosterone, you sign like informed consent, but one of the things is like, yeah, you're gonna go sterile. So it's like low key the government's program to like sterilize all trans people.
what are you saying? That you're going to have disposable income to see the world, drink, and eat awesome meals, and not have some screaming thing
right
tying you down to one place?
I know what my childhood was like, and it's like I don't even want to take a chance to like do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's how much I love kids.
I love other people's kids just fine. Like that's awesome. I'll happily be the cool uncle to my niece. Like, here's toys. Yeah, this is what you're doing in school. I'm gonna go to the bar now. Bye.
Yeah. So yeah, they're totally tricks still. Yeah.
Well, and the way education is, the way like society is, I don't know. I don't want to bring someone into this world, first and foremost. Secondly, I don't know what values I'd fucking teach them.
Yeah, it is a big responsibility.
Because, like, at least when I was coming up, it's like, do the right thing, work hard, pay attention to school, be respectful to people. And it's like, these days, like, be the best looking person you can at all times. That will get you far in society.
Yeah.
Attractive people are just handed shit. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, it's wild. I couldn't imagine growing up with Instagram and Facebook. It's like I went to college in 2004, and so I was in that like inaugural freshman class where like Facebook first started. Like, that's how important Facebook is to me. But it was a really big deal because I remember, I went to college with my secret high school girlfriend. We like roomed together. It was such a terrible plan. I mean, it was really cool at first.
I'm sure. I'm like, this was awesome on paper.
Yeah. It was really cool when we were just like fucking all the time at first. But then like I was in like Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and then I was like, oh, we shouldn't like have sex. But then we like having really hot sex on like a desk. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to. But fuck. But damn it. Now the drink is getting to me, and I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, but I went to I was secret girlfriends.
And Facebook.
Oh, and Facebook. And thank you. I had to do that decision because it said interested in men, women, or you could select both. And it was like, I had been dating her secretly for like 2 years. And I put both. It was a big deal for me. And then I like came out to the pep band. I was like, I'm bisexual. And I still try to make it happen with dudes. But then I finally came out in my freshman year of college. Yeah, I went home for fall break, and my parents said, "Where's Meredith?" Because that was the girlfriend. We were always together. I was like, "Oh, she's with Adam at Clemson University." So she left me for a dude. It was terrible. And then like I remember like she came back and she's like, "I can never be with you because you're not a dude." Well, she probably said man. But like that was like so heartbreaking, right? So then like fucking 7 years later, I find out I can be a dude. It's been
Have you looked her up since?
Yeah, I like hit her up like every time I'm like back in Lexington, South Carolina, and she still won't. Like I remember when we broke up, like I was 18. I was like, maybe when I'm 25, I can see her again, and it hasn't happened. And I'm like 32 now. But I haven't been home in like 3 years, but last time I was home, I like hit her up, like, yeah. And my mom will run into her mom, and they're both named Mary. They're both school teachers. Like, me and Meredith were always trying to make our moms like become friends. We did the thing where we like invited the other one to like go see a movie together, so that they would go on a movie together. Yeah, but I don't. Okay. Every night I dream about my Girl Scout troop, and like I'm like with them, but they're like disappointed in me for transitioning, and then like I'm wearing a dress, but just to like make everyone else more comfortable. But I'm like a dude when I'm like wearing a dress. So like I have all this like unresolved stuff. Like part of me just fantasizes about, and it just happened. I missed my opportunity. Or that was my college reunion. So maybe I can make a high school reunion, but just like going back and being like super hot and everyone being like, who's that? And then be like, oh, that's so and so, my girl name. And or I don't even know. Like maybe they won't even. I just want to be really hot, and I want all the girls that I crushed on in high school who are my friends, and all the girls that were like way too cool to like even know I exist to be like, oh, he's hot.
Oh shit! I need that gold star.
Yeah.
Would you feel bad? Would you feel bad if you went back to your reunion and like some girl you crushed on literally just used you for sex just to say she did it? Would you feel bad about that, or would you?
I would somehow find out a way to like rationalize it, so I won. I would make her come, and then I'd be like, "Oh, you fucking faggot!" Like, yeah, I win.
Where's your God now?
Yeah, I had a premonition that I would be saying this on the podcast, but like. Everyone in my high school, like, you knew which church they went to and which youth group they were in. And there was, like, two people, like, one of my friends, he was, like, in my friend group, he was Hindu. And I gave him, like, this love letter from Jesus, like, left him on his desk. And then my friend Emily, like, she was atheist, and I tried to save her, too. It was so, but this is what was happening to me. I was going to, like, Sunday night youth group, and they're like telling us, oh, if you have friends that don't know Christ, you're like during the Holocaust when there was those churches that were singing and they heard the trains go by of all the Jews going to like be killed, and they just sang louder. So that guy was hella manipulated. But like, yeah, the guy, we were never cool after that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like what? Like so fucked. Yeah, so fucked.
Yeah, that is insanely manipulative. Like, I mean, and this is my problem with organized religion these days. Like, what you do in the privacy of your own home, pray to whoever you want. The minute you are using that spirituality to try to manipulate people into doing something that they're not necessarily into, that's when it's wrong.
That's why I'm like, is my brother a genius? Is my brother like a diabolical genius? Because he went to school to be a civil engineer. He finished the top of his class, got his thing. But his last year of college, he got the call from God. It said, oh, you're supposed to be a youth pastor. So then he went to seminary. But it's a really nice gig. Like, he gets so much. I think he gets paid, well, whatever. He's not listening to this. He gets paid like $60,000. This was a starting thing, like $60,000 a year. Plus, he got like $25,000 housing allowance. Plus, like a $15,000 some other allowance, and all this shit is like tax free. I'm like, he figured it out.
Yeah, it's a horrible scam. There is no reason that any religion should be tax free. Do you know we wouldn't be in debt if churches paid their fucking share?
Ah, that would be so nice.
Like, why? Why did they get to be tax free? And now they're allowed to preach from the pulpit about political support and stuff like that. Fuck that. If they are citizens, they should be paying fucking taxes.
Yeah.
There's no reason that these mega churches should fucking exist. And the pastor, the preacher has a multi-million-dollar aircraft when there's people homeless on the fucking street.
Yeah. We need porn church.
Get enough people to sign up.
But yeah, the disparities is wild.
Sorry, you got me going on religion.
No, I cut you off about the religion.
You probably should. I'll go for a while. I'll just like rant.
No, I keep bringing it up. You're getting to like all my deep, dark secrets. Like my brother's the successful one. I'm just kidding. I used to always be like, my brother's a preacher. I'm a lesbian. I'm the lesbian.
Hey, I'm sure you get a lot more pussy than he does.
I feel bad for him because he waited to have sex until he was married. He really waited. And like I got too much. Oh, okay. I was part of like the bachelorette party for my brother's wedding. Like that should have never happened. I bought lingerie from Victoria's Secret for my sister-in-law. Like that's just weird. Like, I mean, big ups to them. They gave me alcohol like when I was underage, but it was so strange. And then like I was like I pieced out for the sleepover part because they bought like a book with like all the sex positions, but they really did not have sex until they were married. Like they wouldn't do more than French kiss because he was scared like it would make him want to have sex and he couldn't.
Yeah, because it's awesome. Yeah, having sex will make you want to have more sex because it's awesome. Because it feels fucking good. It releases endorphins. For men, it helps us fight prostate cancer.
And now he has to take Cialis, like since he was like 26 and married. So it's like he kept it down so much he can't get it up.
Or maybe he doesn't like women.
Oh my God. You know what? I said that he and his friend Craig was gay, and he got really mad at that when I was in like 6th grade.
Yeah, people comfortable with their sexuality don't get upset at those kind of jokes.
I mean, he's a youth pastor, so, you know, connect the dots.
There's no allegations being made. But, yo, Nancy Allison, how much older is he than you?
Oh, he's like 6 years older than I am.
So he's under 40 and has needed it for years?
Yeah.
Something ain't right there.
Aw, poor big brother.
Also, for the listeners at home, once again, not a doctor, don't know for sure, making wild allegations. And it's a shame. But honestly, if he is, it's a shame that he has to live a life.
Yeah, that might be why he picked the church. Like, my parents always thought I was going to be the one to go the religious route because I had, like, a big spiritual awakening. It might have had to do with, like, how hot my counselor was at the camp I got saved at, though. Because, like, okay, the first night you write down on a piece of paper how percentage sure you are that you're going to go to heaven. So that's the trick. If you're saved, you know it's 100%. But, like, if you're, like, a regular person, you're like, well, I did this good thing, I did this bad thing. You're like, 75%.
Wait a minute. Doesn't God forgive all as long as you repent?
That's what I'm saying.
So, everyone's going to fucking heaven.
That was, like, my question that night. And I feel like, you know how they do a thing when they pull the questions out of the hat? They totally just skipped over my question. It was like, if you're going to get forgiven for anything anyway, like, why don't you just do stuff and then get asked for forgiveness?
Like, my bad. I didn't mean to attend that orgy.
Yes, when I was a kid, like if I hit like someone, I'd be like bad hand. You know, it wasn't on me.
Like, all Father that is in heaven, I am really sorry I punched that guy. Really sorry. I'm really sorry I got drunk, puked in my friend's sink. I guess the problem is, where the percentages, you can't ask for, if you black out and do something stupid, you can't repent for it because you don't remember it happened.
That's what you just say. I forgive me for all my sins.
Does God accept that cop out?
I feel like that's part of like the Lord's Prayer.
Well, seriously, like that's how I feel like the only way anyone ends up in hell is like, whoops, forgot one. Forgot to ask forgiveness for that one.
Yeah,
whoops.
for something stupid like
I jaywalked.
I was. Yes, totally. Same place. Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Can I get a refill and
let's
stop for a bathroom break?
Of course.
But I'm having a lot of fun.
Awesome. And we were back from break. Refill drinks, couple smokes. Yeah, feed the vices.
I'm feeling comfortable. Thank you.
Hey, happy. That is the goal.
But I was out there, I was smoking my cigarette. I was like, wow, I might be approaching the level of self-love where I might start considering quitting. But, like, it never occurred to me before. I was like, oh, he said he quit cigarettes. I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, it's healthy. Oh, usually it's just like, I'm dying.
Well, I quit smoking cigarettes in my early 20s. And I was so wildly out of shape at that point. Like, I was getting winded walking up flights of stairs. I was coughing up bloody mucus all the time. I was a heavy fucking smoker. Like, lighting cigarettes off cigarettes. My late teens, early 20s, I was definitely a coffee house kid. And then I moved into, like, when you could still smoke indoors in bars. So I'd be, like, in the bar, just...
That was the best. Oh, we used to smoke cigarettes inside the one gay club we would go to, Pantheon. And, like, I would always come home with, like, cigarette holes in my clothes because everybody dancing on the dance floor with cigarettes. Ah, so great. Look, it'll never happen again, you know?
I know. Kids these days will just never know secondhand smoke. But there's good and bad things about not being able to smoke indoors these days. On one hand, back when you used to be able to smoke indoor, I used to meet women by leaving the fucking pack on the bar. And I'd have girls roll up and be like, hey, can I bum a smoke? And then, like, instant icebreaker.
Yes, I love that part of it.
But on the on the upside of these days, when a female smoker or the gender you wish to approach goes outside to smoke, like, oh, they may be separated from the rest of their friends, and it's a good opportunity to slide out there, light one up yourself, and start up a conversation. It's good and bad.
I love when we landed in Cuba, when I studied there abroad, the first thing we saw was like some Cuban flight attendants lighting up cigarettes directly below a no smoking sign. And so we just rolled up, and even though we couldn't speak any Spanish, it was like, oh, can you light a cigarette?
Just make the hand motion like...
Yeah.
So I've been to Cuba too.
That's so cool.
We talked about this briefly at the Alt Porn Awards. So how long ago were you there?
I was there in 2007 and in 2009.
Very cool. I
need to go back.
I want to go back too. You know how cheap flights are still from LA?
What are they? Oh, God.
Like 400 round trip. I think I found them in September for like 370 round trip from LAX.
Holy shit. So, yeah, fuck. The thing stopping me is the passport thing, because it just seems like a lot of... I mean, I guess I could just apply for a passport as a female. But I don't know.
Well,
you gotta go to South Carolina and get the birth certificate.
You're assuming like the Cuban customs are really going to pay attention that much to an American passport?
That's true. Yeah, they don't really pretend. They pretend like they're not there anyway. When they do that, when they stamp the piece of paper inside your passport.
Well,
or like they just stamped an extra piece of paper.
Well, since I went after we were allowed to go. I actually have a Cuban stamp.
I did that the second time I went. I was like, fuck it. And she's like, really? You want me to? Yeah. And then I found out, they might harass you if you're like in Honduras or something and they see that you've been in Cuba. But never happened.
No. I'm happy to get a stamp from everywhere I've been. I'm really bummed that when I was traveling within the EU, like if you're doing within the EU flight, you don't have to go through fucking customs. I'm like,
yeah. God
damn it, I went to Germany and fucking Finland. I don't have stamps.
Yeah, it's the same thing for like Honduras, Nicaragua, and Guatemala and El Salvador. It's like all open borders. Because I backpacked from Panama to Guatemala after I graduated from college, and that was dope.
Tell me about it. Like,
the first day I was there, I got bit in the face by a dog. my relative's dog like got lost in translation. Like, don't touch the dog. It was like this Dalmatian, and I put out my hand to pet it, and it just came up and bit me in the face. So like the whole first 2 weeks I was there, everyone was just like, "What happened to your face?" Because I had this huge bandage on it. But it was dope. I did it in my female form self, like when I was a lady. And everyone's like, "Oh, you're going by yourself?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like you get one of those like travel books, and you're straight, you're good." So I just took like, they call them like chicken buses all the way up. And Guatemala City was kind of like the wildest place. Well, I also stayed in the capital of Honduras. Those are like both pretty scary cities, but like I didn't really know until afterwards. But I kind of knew I was there. You would see bodies just like on the sidewalk, just like beat up and just like passed out.
Like just people got the shit kicked out of them, not like corpses, but just people.
Yeah, just people beat up. Yeah, or like inside like an ATM booth, just like passed out. Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, drinking was like a big problem. And then also like I found out like a big problem while I was there was like the buses, the chicken buses, like going off the side of mountains, because like people would just like let their sons or their like sons drive them, and they wouldn't have licenses. It was like weird because I'm like on a bus, like reading a newspaper in Spanish, and like trying to translate it, and I'm realizing it's like saying like bus deaths like at a high, like
like oh fuck.
And then I was like at this one hostel that Che Guevara stayed at, so I wanted to stay there. It was like this hippie commune. It had like all these expats, and there was this old dude. Like we were always just smoking each other out, and then this old dude, missing teeth, handed me a joint, and I think it was like laced with PCP. Because I started smoking, I was like, oh, this must be, I'm just not used to like how strong this is. And then I was like, I had to sit down, and then I was like, I have to go back to my room. And then trying to like unlock the door to my room, I passed out and I pissed myself. And then I'm like trying to explain in like broken Spanish like what's going on to the manager, and I just locked myself in my room for the rest of the night. But oh my god, yeah. It was like 3 or 4 days before I was supposed to go back, and I'm like in like an internet cafe, like Googling my symptoms.
Like, how am I dying right now? Holy shit!
Yeah. Yeah. I met up with this one Spanish woman. She's like, "Oh, you smoke crack?" I have no idea. Yeah, what I smoked, but it was wild. Yeah, but I don't know. It was dope. I got my scuba diving license along the way. Trying to think. I don't think I like hooked up with anybody that whole trip though.
That's a bummer.
Oh wait, no, I lie. The first place I stayed in Panama, I hooked up with this Swedish girl. But then I tried to hook up with her again, and she said I was too easy.
What the fuck?
I was like, we're going out again to the bars, so I'm like holding her hand and stuff because I'm like, I'm like a boyfriend type. But yeah, no. Then most of the time, like people just thought I was disgusting because I didn't shave my legs and like wouldn't wear a bra. Like,
so you just gotta learn to hit it and quit it.
Yeah, that's what I figured out with like trans women. All this evolutionary bullshit, or maybe it's real. They'll be like that. The trans woman would have more of a mindset of hit it and quit it, and I have the mindset of like wanting to boo up. And so I had to figure that out. Like, yeah, that never happened to me before when I was a lesbian. If you're a lesbian, then you just like together for like 9 months, and if you like hook up once. And with this, it was like, yeah, I was having sex with girls, and then they like weren't calling. I had to like tell my therapist about it. And yeah, I never knew there was like a thing where you just like have sex and like never talk again. Like, yeah.
There are people I've had sex with where I really wish they'd disappear in a flash of light after I had an orgasm. Just like, poof, I wish.
Really? Oh my god!
I make some poor sex choices sometimes. Sometimes I'm a little drunk. We're both a little easy. It's not on them. I can't just put it on them. We're both a little easy. And I finish. I'm like, why did I? The minute the poison's out, the minute.
That's what I realized too with these T-girls. I can't let them come first, or they won't be interested in continuing. Yeah, it's like part of my routine now. I gotta make sure I get mine first. It's so funny. Oh my god.
That's so good. That is so funny. You have unlocked one of the great secrets in life. Never let the person with the penis get off first.
Yes. Oh my god, that's too good. Yeah, and then like with me, like I have the combination of like multiple orgasms, and then also with like the testosterone sex drive. So it's just crazy. Like, yeah, but I have to make sure I get the big one. And like one of my girlfriends will be like, "Oh, I think that was the big one." I'll be like, No, you'll know when it's the big one. Like the earth is shaking. I'm just like,
Is the far wall wet? Is that wall still dry? That was not the big one.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, I need to put. That's how I was stripping at this like sex or trans sex party that I throw, and I was telling everyone if they were in the front row, they were in the splash zone.
It's like a Gallagher fucking performance. Yeah. You need sheets and raincoats in the first row.
That's how. Yeah, I'm gonna charge for the raincoats. That's how I get my money.
Eddie Wood raincoats.
I love it. Oh, yes.
We're getting you all these marketing ideas during the show.
Yeah, I know. I've been wanting to have a jizz towel, and then I want to have like wooden, like spanking up implements, and then like even one that like is a wooden paddle with like the word wood cut out of it, so then leaves the wood name on the butt. Yeah.
Property of wood.
Yeah. Like I need to have like a lumber. I used to live in South LA, and there was like this downed electricity pole or like telephone pole, and I had also acquired this chainsaw, so I was just like, I'm gonna do this like photo shoot out there with the chainsaw, like with Eddie Wood. It never happened.
Oh, it can still happen. Don't worry, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah, I'm a hella hoarder. I have like a wheelchair right now. Like someone in my apartment complex threw it out, and I was like, I can use this for porn. So then I had this scene where like I'm like handcuffed to the to the wheelchair, and there's like a T-girl like with her leg or like her feet are like on the arms of the wheelchair, and she's just like fucking my face. It's so great. And I had like a collar on, and I had like this hospital blanket, but then like because of physics, I puked. It was so bad.
Does that technically make the scene obscene at that point where like the vomit happens?
We just cut around it.
Good plan. Solid plan. You don't want to end up like Max Hardcore and go to jail for, obscene material.
Yeah, no. Oh God. Yeah. It's not really my demographic. Had to throw away the hospital gown. It was bad.
Oh no.
I blame the choker or like the collar. Well, cuz like for my first shoot with Michelle Austin for Trans Guys, which is like where I really got my start, I had a collar on for the photo shoot. Like this, I still had like this white collar with like jewels on it. And then this other person, Natasha Jones, who just passed away, she was in the room, and she was like, Michelle, weren't you trying to get like really masculine guys for your website? It was just funny that like I'm gonna have my first like photo shoot. Let me get my white collar ready. So trying to butch it up.
I want to circle back to your international travels, because travel is a big passion of mine. So I'm always curious about travel. So what brought you to Cuba in the first place?
They had a study abroad program for political science, and I wanted to study abroad, but I studied Latin in college, so it was one of the few ones that was in English, and it was for my major. So I remember finding out about the trip, and like I just like started crying. Like I believe in this. Like these things happen. Like I felt like this was just something that I had to do, and I like called my parents and talked to them about it, and I like even was like able to show them like, oh, it would actually be cheaper for me to study abroad in Cuba than to like pay to live in like Charleston and go to school. And I like had all scholarships and shit like that, so they didn't really have to do much. And they're like, all right, yeah. And I don't even know what it wasn't like I was obsessed with Cuba or anything. It was really just that I could study abroad with English. But then being in Cuba, like their whole like origin story is about resisting American imperialism.
Well, for Spanish imperialism, then American.
Yeah.
Like they have a long-standing tradition of fighting people off.
Yeah. And it was like every time we'd have a question, they would be like, well, in 1848, the Monroe Doctrine, like, like Manifest Destiny, like everything always went back to that. And so for me, I mean, it was a huge experience because it was the first time being outside of the country, but it was like being in a place where conceptions of time and space and what was important, everything was just different. I didn't know there could be an alternative to, all the things that I just assumed were givens in the U.S. So I just, alternatives to capitalism. And I mean, they got rid of religion with the revolution, and they only recently like let it back in. So there's not that whole pool. It's just incredible. I mean, even the professor I had there, like I wasn't transitioned yet, but he treated me like I was a guy. I can look back at it, and I've seen him since I transitioned. He's the reason that I did the whole backpacking trip through Central America. I met up with him in Guatemala for the Human Rights Conference, and the America's Social Forum, and I got to meet up with him there. But he would always be like, "Oh, you're my tiger." Like there was like 3 guys and me, and he was like, "Oh, you're my 4 tigers." Like I don't know. I got to be like openly. I mean, I was openly lesbian at home, but it was wild. Like just me being the American lesbian there, I just got to meet girls, and like I couldn't speak any Spanish, so they just assumed that I was like charming. I had my guitar, so I would just play and like be silly. I got like 6 different girls when I was there. It was crazy. Like it was like the best time of my life. I turned 21 while I was there. We found weed to smoke while we were there. We sold weed to other people on our trip for like way overpriced shit while we were there. Every night, I would go hang out with this group of Cubans, and they're like, "Oh, we go hang out in the office." Well, the office was just this little patch of grass in the median of the road next to Cafe G, and like we get like a bottle of rum for like literally $3. And we would just sit out and play guitar and laugh and just, yeah, every night. I guess I never even really felt like I had a group of friends like that before. It was like artists. It was so romantic. You know, everywhere you were going, there was young Cubans like playing Zombie by the Cranberries on their guitar. Like it was everywhere. Like Cafe G, you could get like mojitos for 50 cents. Go watch soccer games at the university. I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's why I went to grad school, because I thought, well, one of the ways you can go back to Cuba is if you study it. So I was like, oh, I'll just get my PhD and study Cuba, and that way I can go back to Cuba. But then when I went back the second time, I went with it's like this Pastors for Peace company, or not company, they're basically a company, but it's interdenominational church leaders, and they've been going to Cuba and breaking the embargo for like almost 30 years. And so I went back with them, and I realized, oh, you don't have to have a PhD. Really. I mean, I still went and tried to get the PhD thing. I got a master's and left because UCLA sucks. But I just, it was like this alternative form of everything. Like, no one has dispensable income. You go to someone's house, they don't have knickknacks. They would never have this many books, and they would have like a boombox maybe, or like 2 chairs. It's just like no one has anything that is disposable. Like I wouldn't even know where you would go to buy clothes if you were a Cuban. So everything is just, it's like food, and it's dancing, and it's drinking, and it's family. Like, yeah, I loved it.
Oh, I love the meals down there. We went out dancing, we went out drinking. Oh, so much fun.
Did you go to Turf?
No.
Everyone would be like, "Oh, we heard the Americans are going to Turf tonight." It's like
Turf?
this dance club. What part of Cuba were you in?
We're just outside of Havana.
Mm-hmm. That's it's down by the waters in Havana, or was it called Vedado? But it's like there's Old Havana, and then it's like not Old Havana, but it's maybe, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't really know exactly where our Airbnb was. Like, all I know is one night our Airbnb hosts were like, "Oh yeah, there's a dance club like a mile." So we like kind of wandered the neighborhood till we found this motherfucker.
Oh my god, I know what that's like. Yeah,
and it was crazy. Like we rolled up and they're like, "Yo, how many of you?" That like it was mostly a dude strip. Like my one buddy brought his wife, but otherwise it was all of us were just dudes.
Yeah,
and they're like, "You got to bring girls in with you. So pick some girls out of the line and bring them in with you." We're like, really? This is the polar opposite of American clubs. American clubs, they let girls in and we'd be fucked. And they also saw the American dinero.
Yeah.
They're like,
oh yeah, the Americans are the party.
Yeah. Well, and I've told this story on air before, but I ended up hooking up with a girl who I feel is an opportunist. One of my other friends swears up and down she is a prostitute. Well, we're dancing the night away. Like, I'm buying her and her friend drinks. We're having a great time.
Bucaneros? Yes!
And
Bucanero Max.
And Crystal. Fucking Crystal. Like, just...
Cristal.
Cristal, yeah, exactly.
Cristal's for the ladies. Buccaneros for the boys.
Oh, shit. Well, I was drinking a bunch of Crystal. Oh, they must have been talking so much shit about us in Spanish. Well, because the Airbnb had a bar, like, built into it.
Yes, so did ours when we were studying abroad. We had a freaking bar inside the dorm.
Well, we ran a mansion. We didn't realize it was a fucking mansion, and it had a bar and like had a bar staff, and they had Chris. Oh, it was insane!
So great.
It was $540 a night for a 10-bedroom, 11-bath house that had a house staff. Like they charged us for it, but they'd cook us breakfast every morning.
Yes.
Like they did a pig roast for us. Like killed the pig on the property.
Oh my god!
I stabbed the pig a bunch of times. It sadly did not die.
Holy shit! Oh my god! That's a weird sensation.
I felt like I do not regret stabbing the pig. Like I'm very much of the opinion, if you're going to eat meat, you shouldn't be afraid to see how it's made.
Yeah, I feel you. Totally.
Like, you're a complete hypocrite. If you are willing to eat an animal and you're not willing to kill it for that. Like, I'm not killing it because I enjoy killing it. I just feel it's morally reprehensible to be like, yep, my meat only comes in shrink wrap.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be honest with where my meat fucking comes from.
Yeah.
And I also felt it would have been rude to our hosts who were like, it's an honor to kill the pig.
Oh, totally. You don't want to be rude to the host.
But I do feel bad that I fucked it up and it did not go quietly into the night. That motherfucker did not go quietly into the night. I'm sorry, piggy. Sorry. But so back to the bar, dancing with this girl all night, and it's getting to be about last call. And she's translating through my friend, like, yeah, I'll take him home. We'll have a good time. I'm like, fuck yeah, it's on. And then my other buddy was like, I'm bringing the girl back to the house. I'm like, well, then I'm going to bring this girl back to the house and her friends. Went back to the house. Like, when it was time to seal the deal, like, we're fucking around in my bedroom. Like, she's like, stop for a second. She's like, Matt. And then she said something in Spanish. I'm like, español un poquito. Do you want to fuck me? I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, that I understand. She's like, can you help out my family?
Yes, I heard that when I was there too.
I'm like, how would you like me to help out your family? And the reason I don't feel she was a pro is she didn't have a number like there. Like, I know sex workers.
Yeah, no, it was more of a, like, you're an American, she's Cuban, you're having sex situation.
Right. It was a, oh shit, this is like, this guy's a baller. He makes a lot of money. She said she was a teacher. You know, the average Cuban salary is $40 US a month.
Oh, I thought it was even less. I heard, like, doctors make like $8 US a month. That crazy?
That's insane. And this is the average Cuban salary. I have no idea what teachers make, but she hit me up with $20.
Yeah, no, I gave lots of girls 20s, and like, yeah, just bus fare to get home, like taxi to get home. It's nothing. It's nothing.
I live in LA. That is less than the price of 2 drinks that I would happily buy you in a bar.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, we're gonna bone now.
Oh yeah.
And the audience sadly has heard this too. I felt really bad. I popped so fast. Well, she was hot as fuck. But I'd also been on the trip for like 5 days, and because of the lack of water pressure and being surrounded by a bunch of dudes and no pornography, I hadn't cleaned the pipes in a little while either. So I was a little backed up, and hot Cuban girls tried not to. I finished quick. I'm sorry, girl.
No, I had lots of fun experiences with the ladies in Cuba. One of them, because there's nowhere to hook up, we would just hook up in the park, but she was trying to tell me, like, through Spanish, like, one time, like, oh, if you just wear, like, a skirt, it'll be easier for us to hook up, you know? And I was like, oh, you're not going to catch me in a skirt. And then this one time I went out to the club with my friend and her friend Julio. Julio is gay. And so we're dancing all night. It's cool. We go back to Julio's place to stay, and he pulls the mattress off his bed, and me and the girl sleep on the bottom of the mattress, and he's on his bed. He gives us, like, night shirts. Then I start hearing them, like, giggling, and I realize they're, like, making out. And I'm like, okay. And so we all start, like, hooking up, and, like, I'm total lesbian at this point. And so I'm trying to tell them in, like, broken Spanish, like, okay, I'm down to, like, hook up, but, like, don't penetrate me. And so like the whole time we're like messing around, the girl's like, "No, Julio, no, no penetration." And then the next day we're like talking about it, and you know how there's the whole like quiero thing. It's like I want, but I like, or like I love. And so she's like, "Do you quieres Julio?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's like your friend, like sure." Like, and she got mad, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, why are you like, we had sex with Julio last night, like don't you want him, don't you like him like that? And she's like, "He's my friend, we needed a place to stay." So we totally just like boned her friend Julio so we could have a place to stay.
Wow, Cuban landlords must have it made.
Yeah, I know. It was like, no, but we were in his parents' house, and we were like sneaking in,
That's fucked up. Like, we're friends, but we needed a place to stay, so I blew him. Like, what?
It's like, fuck, I never imagined there would be like a guy like rubbing his cock like between my ass cheeks, I'm just trying to. And then this is the what I really. The first night I was there, I went to Club Turf, and like in my broken Spanish and my drunkenness, I'm just like, "Donde están?" Or I think I was like, "Donde estas las lesbianas?" Found one, and she ended up taking me. We took a taxi, me and her, and then a guy on my trip and his girl. We all went back to her place by the beach, and like I had like my little fanny pack on that you keep your passport on and your money, and they're like, "Don't ever take it off." So I remember like fucking, but I still had my passport bag on because I was like, they said don't take it off. And then we come, and then she like takes me downstairs, and then she like shows me like, "Oh, this is my like 6-year-old son," like pictures of him and stuff. And then we're trying to call a taxi ride to get back before breakfast so they don't know that we were gone. And they ended up getting some money off of me for gas. But it was the whole like the Little Miss Sunshine thing where we're outside the BMW Beetle, and we're like, she's trying to start it, and we had to get behind, and we push it, we all jump in. Oh, no. And we got back right in time for breakfast. But oh my god, I don't even know how I survived that. Yeah, it was so wild.
Cuba is a wild place. It definitely tops it for me of places like that are just so different than anywhere else I've ever been.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously encountered it. Are the Cubans hostile to homosexuality? Like,
this is the funny thing. Like that night, people were telling me like, don't hold hands with her in public. Not because they give me a hard time because I'm a foreigner, but they would give her a fucking hard time because she's a national. And I just saw a lot of that. Like we would be at the beach, and like black Cuban people would come up and talk to us, and the cops would come and they would tell the kids to get lost because they're like really like aggressively trying to make sure Cubans don't rip off tourists. But like Mariela Castro, Raul's daughter, she's super pro transsexual, pro homosexual, pro like ending AIDS or like giving money to like AIDS research and that kind of stuff, which is crazy because allegedly, or I guess really, they fucked up a bunch of gay people and like sent them to the island of youth, or like I don't know. Castro did apologize though in like 2011. He apologized for the mistreatment of gays in Cuba, but it seemed, I don't know, it was just the wildest thing that people would just be like, "Oh, you're a lesbian? Here's this lesbian that I brought for you." Like it was insane. It would have literally happened like that. It was just like there's only like 10 lesbians in Cuba, but like I got to like meet all of them.
Like I banged a good 70% of all the lesbians in Cuba.
Yeah, one of them I was like hooking up with her at her house, and she's like had her CD player, and she had like 2 CDs, and like she was like, "Do you want to listen to Enya or Enigma?"
What the fuck?
It was like, you can't get more lesbian than this weak shit. Like,
do you want to light some candles while we do it too?
Yeah, I felt like that. Oh my god, so funny. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, that's fucking ridiculous. Oh, fucking Cuba.
I would love to go. I gotta go back. Like, yeah.
Me too. I gotta go back couple of my friends were talking about going for like just a weekend trip. I'm like,
That's not long enough.
I know. It's like, if I'm going to do all that commuting, do I really just want to be there for like 72 hours? I mean, it'll be 72 hours of not sleeping and just being crazy people, but
if you go longer, then you can like go to different parts of the island.
I really actually wanted to go to Santiago de Cuba and like go to Castro's final resting place.
Yeah.
But when we were there, I was there last year and it was only like a $400 flight. In country, it was $200 to fly to like Santiago de Cuba for a day. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm not spending 50% of what it took to get here.
I saw some guys there like renting cars. I never tried to do that there, but that would be dope. Rent a car and drive around. Oh my god!
I just was uncertain of what it's like in between cities there, like what the gas situation's like.
That's a good point. Oh my god!
Like the last thing you want to do is be like, we're in the fucking jungle. Car broke down. Cool. No cell service. Barely speak Spanish.
Were your credit card could you use your credit cards or debit cards there?
Nope.
No.
Loaded up on cash.
Yeah. It's so wild. And then if you run out of money, you can get up to $300 per quarter because of the remittance law, just like of people working in America and sending money back to Cuba. There's some certain amount, but yeah. It was wild. We had to change all our money to euros because they were really penalizing the American dollar.
Yeah, they still do that. There's still an extra. It's 3% for any exchange to CUC, and then another 10% for the USD. I exchanged to Great Britain pounds before I went. I went to pound sterling because that was the best exchange rate between that and the Cuban peso.
Yeah, so wild.
Everyone else did euros. Some people did Canadian dollars, but all of us exchanged out of USD before we went there.
Yeah. It's so wild. Oh, it's so wild. I love that. I have there's a trans guy there right now, or he just got back. Sid St. Vincent. He's really a trailblazing trans guy in porn who hasn't gotten all the recognition he deserves. But he was there, and he was updating his Instagram. I mean, still paying for the internet that he was using, but it was just so wild to me. We could get internet when I was there, but you had to go to the hotel, Havana Club. I got to celebrate my 21st birthday at Havana Club. That's so
awesome.
Dope. It was so dope. And the one girl out of all the girls in Cuba that I really like, she was my date. It was so dope. Jillian. But then she's it's funny, Facebook has been in Cuba forever. Longer than anything else. When I was there in 2007, they had Facebook. And so I was able to Facebook message back and forth with her because she would get internet between 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. off her brother's internet, And she was like, "Oh, so you're a dude now?"
You broke her heart.
Right? Yeah. No, she broke mine. Jillian Treyes. And when I went back in 2009, I met up with her again. And we hooked up. But then she wasn't really feeling it. Probably because I looked like a dude. No, I was still a lady, but I don't know. Maybe she could feel the energy.
That's a shame.
Oh, yeah. I was head over heels. And never mind. I can't say that.
No.
I was turning 21 that year, and she was still in high school, but they go to 13th grade. But the age of consent there is 16, I think. But it was she was, yeah. That was kind of suspicious on my part. But I was a lesbian. You don't know about these things until you become a man. It's it's just two girls. It's not predatory. But it was terrible. She was had the school uniform and everything, and would come see me after school.
Dirty.
Our first, yeah. Oh, never mind. I almost got her confused with another girl. But another girl there. Our first night was I would be tree, and she'd be el arbor. I'd be car. She'd be el auto. Just teaching me,
teaching you Spanish the easy way,
and then. Yeah, Cuba was too good to me. Yeah.
Well, you should go back. You should figure out a way.
What I really want to do is my dream porn is to shoot porn in Cuba because there's a place on the Malecon and 25th. So if you You might have been right, but were you on the Malecon? Like, it's where the water is. Like,
No, we were definitely more inland.
so everyone just it's like, I'm from Charleston, I'm from South Carolina. Charleston, South Carolina has the Battery, and it's like right there next to the water. And they have that in Cuba. It's the Malecon. It's like a wall right next to the water. You look up and you see Miami.
We definitely hung out around there a couple times, but
Yeah. And so they're still great because everyone hangs out there. You can drink out there. And people come around and sell stuff. And so on 25th and Malecon is where all the transvestites and the trans women and the cross-dressers hang out. And oh God, I want to go hang out and like find some and shoot porn with them, and I don't know, break the embargo.
It's such a fucking shame that they're making it more difficult to go back to Cuba.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
At least there are still direct U.S. flights now.
That's pretty insane. Yeah, that we don't have to, because before you just go through Mexico or you go through the Bahamas.
Yeah, because the way we ended up in Cuba, a buddy of mine and I had been talking about it for like over a decade.
Oh shit!
What inspired me was, of all things, a fucking Playboy article.
That's dope.
One of the correspondents from Playboy had gone there and like did a review of like the Restaurante Particulares, and
yes, they're so good. They're incredible.
And I was just enthralled with the idea of a place where I can go and there's no fucking Americana.
Yeah.
No McDonald's, no Starbucks. Fucking everything is, its own little like mom and pop shop.
Yes.
Everything has its own flavor. I didn't even look for internet while I was there. I'm like, I'm staying off the fucking grid.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And we've been talking about it for like a decade, and gatewaying through other countries was always a little expensive, and we just kept putting it off. And then we were talking about it again, and I was like looking at flights for gateways, and then I was able to find a direct flight from the States. I'm like, oh shit, there's direct flights from the States now. Oh my God, $400. We are going to fucking Cuba.
It's insane. It would cost me $400 to go to South Carolina.
Oh no, what's crazier is when I went, I had a layover in New York City. It was more expensive to fly to New York, just to New York from LA, than it was to Havana.
Oh my God.
How does this work? Like, next time I go to New York, I'm booking a flight to Havana and just getting off. Like,
oh my God. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was.
Yeah, I was always getting like nervous when it was opening up so much, because I want to be the only cool American that got to go to Cuba, and so I'm kind of happy that it is closing off again. And I mean, well, it's not like Cuba wants Americans there necessarily. Cuba just doesn't want an embargo. Embargo's horrible politics.
It is, but it's fucking amazing, the Cuban people, like what they have managed to cobble together through the embargo. Yeah. Cars that are older than our parents, still fucking running, being held together with Russian steel. And
oh yeah, I'll tell you, my professor Umberto in Cuba, he said there's joke is you don't let a guy borrow your car before you let him borrow your wife, because you know what he'd do to your wife, but you have no idea what he could do to your car.
Wow. That's fucking ridiculous.
It's so good. It's so real. And it'd be like guys on the side of the side on the street just like refilling lighters. Like it's like, because there's only a limited supply of those stupid little plastic lighter pouches, It's so wild. Wild.
Everyone is on a fucking hustle there.
Oh yeah.
I've talked about this on the show before, but we bought counterfeit cigars.
Yeah.
We did a cigar tour, and as we walk out the cigar tour, this tour guide who has a tour with him rolls up to my buddy like, "Yo, man, you want factory cigars? Much cheaper."
Oh yeah, everybody's got a cousin that works at the factory that's giving them like, oh yeah.
So we walked 2 blocks into like the barrio, into someone's apartment, like 9 of us into some dude's apartment, and they start breaking out boxes of cigars. And we end up buying a bunch, and like some of them were decent, some of them were just absolute hot garbage, but it was hilarious. At one point they were having problems with the box, and my buddy busts out a knife and they're like, "Whoa, man, whoa. No mafia in Cuba."
Oh my God.
Like, whoa. No, we're helping you open the box, man. We're not robbing you.
Yeah, everybody's got a black market connection in Cuba. You have to.
Oh yeah, everyone's on a hustle.
You have to. Yeah.
As I told people that asked me about it, like there's definitely at least 3 different economies going on there.
Yeah.
There's like the flat, friendly tourist economy where it's all CUC and set prices, and if you stay in parts of Havana, it's
You could never see a local anything.
Right. And then there's the Spanish. You speak Spanish, you're willing to go away from the tourist area economy, where things are for haggle. Generally still in CUC, a little overpriced, but still cheaper than what the tourists are paying. And then there's the real Cuban economy. Like, one of my buddies hooked up with a girl, and they went out one night, and they found one of those rooms where, they hooked up for the night, and she's like, don't talk.
Yes, I received that instruction as well when I was there.
Well, and my boy Dave kind of looks like Cienfuego. Like, he really does look like Cienfuego a little bit. So he could partially pass for Cuban. He just didn't talk. Like, he opened his mouth and the price went up 100%.
Yep.
It was like going to be $5 for the night, and then like he opened his mouth, they're like 15.
Yep. They put me in was it sardines? Is that what they call it? Like the taxi, or it's not real taxis, just people drive their cars up and down the main streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they told me, oh, don't open your mouth or it costs more. So wild. It's so crazy. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, just everything's on haggle. No cabs have meters. It's
yeah.
We got a ride back from some dude at one point. Like, we rolled up to like a taxi stand, and like they're like, oh, that's too far. And some dude's like, I got you.
Yes.
And we jumped in his car, and it's like, as we're driving, like, this is just some dude's car. We are just paying some dude.
Yes. And you see like the women, they'll just like stand on the side of the street and they'll just flag down cars and they'll just get free rides. So great. So great.
Cuba's an amazing place. So how does Central America compare to Cuba? Because I haven't been there.
Oh, interesting thing is especially in like Panama, but probably all over Central America, the U.S. dollar is king. Like, they would prefer, like, if they see you with U.S. money, they're like, oh yeah. They want it. They prefer it. I guess it doesn't even seem like it has the difference between like CUC and the national peso that Cuba does. But yeah, nobody was ever angry when I pulled out just a U.S.
Well, because they know it's backed by imperialist ass America. They're like, Imperial America ain't going nowhere. Our government may collapse. We've seen a couple.
And I remember I was trying to pay for something in Guatemala, and I had like a Honduras bill. They all looked the same to me, and the people in Guatemala were like, what is this? Like, this is so weird. And that would just like surprise me that they felt so separate from Honduras. Or is it like, they all seem the same to me, like as a tourist like traveling through there.
Hey, try to pay someone in Canadian dollars. You'd probably get the same thing. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think. I don't even know what the similarities and differences would be. I know it's something that's in common, which is terrible. I felt at both places I could just never get completely clean. Does that sound terrible? Just like a level of just like dirt is like infrastructure in both of those places,
and it's hot and humid, and you're always fucking sweating.
Yeah, so like I remember sometimes just feeling like claustrophobic. Like I felt like such a douchebag, but it was like I just want to go to like New York City and take a shower. Like, I'm white. I've got Scott-Irish culture or heritage or whatever. But I don't know, something about is appealing for like Central American culture and Cuban culture, the music and the food, and they may just be stereotypes, but I always just felt like just a level of comfort there. Like even the church that I go to here is like, or used to go to here was like half Spanish, half English. I don't know. A lot of people like to say that Latino culture has like this machismo thing, but I don't know. I feel like the Latino culture that I've interacted with has like just there's more openness and acceptance for different types of gender presentation, and that like it's okay for like men to be sweet and caring and to cook and to to do things that are considered like feminine in this society. So it's always been, I don't know, it's always seemed just like more open than what I've experienced American culture as, which I think like when I had in transition and stuff, like I've always been into like I studied like African American studies in college, but it was just like I couldn't, in my brain, I didn't. Then I was just like, you know, like white girl, black power, like, but like now I understand, like, oh, I was just looking maybe for like alternative ways to be human, and there's not trans studies didn't exist, you know. Maybe gender studies existed, but it was just like me trying to get to me being a trans man. But it was like all this stuff happened where trans wasn't even on my radar until I graduated from college. And even then I was like, oh, that's not me. You know, I like being a girl. I like being the special kind of girl where like I can hit on girls, but like guys can't beat the shit out of me. But that's not necessarily true. But yeah, so just, I think even just a lot of like when you learn a new language, that opens up stuff in your brain that you didn't know there was space for before. Like the idea that there's stuff in each language that doesn't translate. Like, oh, there's things that are bigger than, you know, me growing up in South Carolina. I grew up in the church. I grew up playing tennis. It was very defined. I would grow up in Girl Scouts. It was very defined. Like, you're a girl. Like I never was able to open my mind bigger than that until literally I was like 26 and I like Googled trans. And then I was like, oh, fuck.
And here we are.
I know, right? I saw this like trans guy like doing pull-ups. I was like, that's not real. That's not possible. Like, no way. And then, yeah. Now trans is cool.
It definitely is. People should feel comfortable in the skin, you know, whatever skin they want to be in. And I don't understand why anyone would be bothered by it. As I said before, I am very much, you should live your life as long as you are not harming anyone else. Yeah. Who gives a fuck what you do? What you do to your own body, what you put in your own body. Who cares? It's your body. Do what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, good or bad. You can be like, I'm going to go do heroin right now. I'll be like, have fun.
Hey, no, be like, don't do heroin, Lee. Oh, wait, I just said my... now everyone knows my secret human civilian name.
We'll just do a 1, 2, 3. Don't do heroin, Eddie.
No, it's no, it's funny when people say that. Like I say, my name's Lee. Like out here, like people be like, "That's your first name?" Like or like it was really funny for me. Like Asian people be like, "That's your first name?" That's weird. And then I don't want to be. They're like, "Lee, where's that from?" Like, because I think it's from Robert E. Lee.
Oh,
you know, like the Southern
General
Lee, because it's Lee. Yeah. So I don't like to like say that that's my namesake.
That would be really. It would be really funny to me if your original name was Kim Lee. Like,
it's kind of close. But it's kind of close.
a lot of like the Asian culture here would be like, Kim Lee, really?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's I know. Oh, it's wild. It's wild being out here. It's just wonderful. Because in South Carolina, just like there's a one like upshot of being in South Carolina as a trans person. They don't even know that trans people exist. So before I ever was on testosterone, but I just had a buzzed head and like was binding my chest, they just immediately thought I was a man. Because like in their brain, there's only men and there's women. Whereas like same scenario, pre-transition, buzzed head, binding in San Francisco, store owners are like very, like to me and my girlfriend, oh, hey ladies, because they're like, oh, we know there's all different types of ways to be a woman. We don't want to offend this person by saying they're a man.
Right.
So it's like a really funny upshot of being like in the rural area that I've heard a lot of people like have that same experience.
Oh, and that's the crazy part to me. Like that North Carolina was the one passing the bathroom law. Like, how many trans people are you guys encountering that you need to pass? That you feel the need to pass this unnecessary law?
Yeah.
I feel most trans people get the fuck out of the Carolinas. They're like,
oh yeah, I know. Oh, it's like the moment that I even get to Atlanta airport, I start seeing the rainbow flip flops and the North Face jackets on women, and I'm like, oh, I'm here. It's like women in the South have a really interesting way of being butch, and they don't even know it. Like, I used to work at a mall or a store in the mall, and like the butch, like couples would come in, and the man and the woman were just like twins almost. Like, and these women, they think they're so southern and ladylike, and like if you compared it to what's going on in California, they're just hella butch. Like, they don't even know. They don't even know. They got their short like mullet haircuts and stuff, and they don't even know they look like total dykes.
She's like, I know how to skin a hog.
Exactly. Yes. It's so weird. Yes.
Like, I've been a dude my whole life. I don't know how to skin a hog. I obviously don't even know how to kill one.
Yeah, and that's like when I worked at the mall. It's like one woman that I worked with is totally filmed. She's like, I can skin a deer faster than any of the guys at the processing plant. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I was just like encountering shit. Like, she's like, my mom and dad raised me to believe that men and women are, a woman can do anything a man does, but I would never get on an airplane if it was a woman pilot. She's like, it just wouldn't feel right. So, yeah, it was terrible. It was like Eddie encounters like racism, sexism, homophobia every day. Like, people, they would like, using racial epithets. And then saying, oh, I only use that racial epithet if they're acting like a racial epithet. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah, I had to get the fuck out of there. I don't even visit anymore. I haven't been home for like 2.5 years. So, yeah.
Besides some rad meals, I can't say I blame you. I did some time in the Carolinas. So.
Oh, yeah? You got some barbecue, some Carolina Gold?
Oh, yeah. I went to fucking Piggy Park down in Columbia.
Oh, nice. And that's his brother does Maurice's, right?
Yeah, it was Maurice's Piggy Park. Like,
it is Maurice's Piggy Park. Yeah, Maurice. Oh my god, yeah, freaking Maurice. Oh my god, because then his brother is just Morrison's or something like that. He didn't fly the flag, but oh yeah, freaking no. This is funny. Maurice's daughter lives in my parents' neighborhood.
Oh really?
And then Maurice bought a house across the street from my parents' house that I grew up in for his lady piece. And so I swear to God, like one time I'm like driving out and Maurice is in the front yard. He waves at me. He's got the white suit on and everything. The mustache like curled up.
Oh, that's crazy.
I could not fucking believe it. Yeah. Freaking small ass world. Yeah.
That is fucking ridiculous. But yeah, no.
It's not even a nice house. Like it's like a starter neighborhood that my parents just like stayed in.
You'd figure with all that Piggy Park money,
right?
Like they have those things, and I also ate at Lizard's Thicket.
Yes. I think we talked about that. Yeah. Oh God, and you can just get the 4 veggie plate. That's good too. But
you gotta love that place where it's like, attention vegetarians, all our vegetables are cooked in lard, and rice and gravy is on the vegetables list. Like. In what world is rice and gravy a fucking vegetable?
And the freaking name, Lizard's Thicket, like, that's just a disgusting name, I don't want to think about eating lizards. Like, oh, yeah, it's a trip. South Carolina is a trip.
Where else was I? Look, there's a place in Greenville, South Carolina called Bacon Brothers, which is
I haven't been there.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. Like, just pulled pork, fucking, like, I'm sure I have a picture on my phone somewhere of, like, their aging meat locker. It was just like, oh.
Did you go to Rush's?
I did not.
South Carolina? Yeah. It's nothing special. I mean, I guess it's a little special because they serve hot dogs and hamburgers, but... Or, like, you get fries and then you put vinegar in the fries. It's supposed to be, like, a thing.
That's like a UK thing, putting vinegar on fries. Yeah, but I spent a little bit of time in South Carolina, a bunch of time in like Charlotte, and
oh yeah, Charlotte's much better.
All over North Carolina.
North Carolina is much better than South Carolina. Yeah, weird ass things happen in South Carolina, like Susan Smith. She drowned her kids.
Yeah.
And then like Joe Wilson, that's my representative. He yelled out at Barack Obama, "You lie!" during the State of the Union address. Oh, and then like the shooting at the AME, the Black Church in Charleston, South Carolina.
Thankfully, they sentenced that asshole to death.
And he's from Lexington. He's from where I'm from. It's just like fucking crazy. Oh, and then they shot the guy in Walter Scott in North Charleston. You know, like these crazy, huge, politically like powerful things happen in South Carolina.
Hey, it was the first state to leave the Union.
So, yeah, I believe in the Illuminati.
Well, Eddie, it is actually about that time we're going to call last call. We're going to wrap it up for the day. I could keep going for hours on this. It's been a ton of fun.
Oh, yeah, this has been really wonderful. Thank you so much.
Where can the audience find you on social media? Can they find your porn?
All right, please follow me on Twitter, EddieWood_XXX. And I also have a website. It's called EddieWood_XXX.com. And you can find my stuff on MiniVids under EddieWoodF2M. And if you want to PG follow me on Instagram at EddieWoodFTM.
Damn you, Instagram making things PG. The government said tits are legal now. Like, why they got to be PG? What the fuck?
But due to trans men and all of our activism on Instagram, they allow nipples and breasts if it's mastectomy scars. So, woo, woo, woo.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Free the nipple.
Free the fucking nipple. I put on too much more weight, they're going to block my tits. Shit. And for me, as always, you can find me at Matt_Slayer on Twitter, Matt Slayer on Instagram, Matt F. Slayer on Facebook. You can find the podcast at And Now We Drink on Twitter, and Now We Drink _ on Instagram. Every Thursday, come in for a new episode. Till then, good night all.